Hi, I'm Jonathan Weinberg, and this is Drawing with Fountain Pens. Last week, I had the great pleasure of going to Vassar College and seeing a little exhibition that's in the art library called Making the Modern Fountain Pen, Aurora's Hastil and its Global Influence. It's a exhibit that's in a big glass case inside the art library. Curated by Nicholas Adams, the art historian, architectural historian, and Barry Price. Barry Price, the co-curator, is an architect based in Woodstock, New York, and was essential to designing the exhibit and working with Nick Adams on it. And it focuses on the Aurora Hastil fountain pen, which is a stick fountain pen. We could say the shape and design that came out in 1970. And what's kind of amazing about that pen is that it seems so straightforward and simple in its design and so obvious, but actually until that point in time, no other fountain pen really looked like it, and it sparked just dozens of imitations. I have to admit that I really was not aware of it until fairly recently. Anyway, what was great is not only did I get to see the show, but I got to talk and meet Nick Adams, and he spoke to me about the exhibition and answered some questions too that I had about the Bauhaus. So I thought I would share that with you guys. The show is small, but Vassar College itself is really beautiful, and there's a nice museum there as well. The library is a beautiful building. There's really incredible history there, and a lot of other things that are in that area around Poughkeepsie. So if you're in the area, I strongly recommend it. The show is on until September 19th, so it's running through the summer. So enjoy it. Please remember to subscribe. I think you'll find more and more that I'm putting all kinds of information and doing things on my channel that are a bit different than other fountain pen YouTube channels. You know, I interview people, I show up my own paintings, I try to make it more than just be about reviewing whatever is a pen, although we do that too. I do that too here. And it really helps if you subscribe and give it likes. It doesn't cost you anything. And I very much appreciate it. And do post your comments, what you think about this pen and pens that are like it.
My name is Nicholas Adams. I'm the curator and organizer of this exhibit of fountain pens based around the history and influence of Aurora's Hastil pen. Hastil means it has style in Italian. It's designed by Marco Zanuso and Richard Sapper, and it's really a work of art. And like any great work of art, it has left other pen makers to grapple with its ideas and its message. So if you come to Vassar to see the exhibit, you'll see the Hastil in all its glory, but then you'll see all the pens, many of the pens, in which makers have been influenced by this very simple, straight-edged metal pen with squared ends. So we're looking now at the Hastil itself in its case, a wonderful case that hides the pen as if it were a surgical tool inside a special metal container. And below, we've made an effort to show the sources of Hastil, the kind of things that Zanuso and Sapper would have looked like. For example, on the left there's the Villa Savoye of Le Corbusier and his pilotis, simple straight metal tube for a column, the unornamented object of modernism, and then just in front of that a piece of PVC, because the other influence for Hastil was from Arte Povera, which is an Italian movement of the 1960s. Someone would debate whether it's a movement, it's a collection of people under a critic by the name of Germano Celant, who thought to take all art objects back to their simplest foundations, so to hardware, to the basic things that that could be the source of pens. In the middle there you can see a series of the Hastil at the left, and then 3 blanks that we've made, which show different sizes of barrel. And give you an idea that it wasn't just by accident that they picked out the shape and the size and the proportions, but these are decisions that Zanuso and Sapper made for the pen.
These drawings, what are they?
These are patent drawings. The design was patented by Aurora in Turin, and they submitted them to different countries. I think we're looking at English ones and American ones, but they're also German and elsewhere. It was which were an effort to patent the different parts of the pen for a very short period. I mean, 3 years doesn't sound like much if you're really serious about your design. Sapper and Zanuso were industrial designers. Pens were just one of the things that they designed. So you can see, for example, the cheese grater, which is the work of Sapper. The photograph shows Zanuso on the phone and Sapper is next to him, watching him. They're holding one of the early flip phones. It's called the Grillo, the cricket, which is their design. There's a cigarette lighter and espresso coffee machines, a grinder, the Girmi.
Now, why did Aurora get them to design the pen? Was there something happening, or?
Well, if we only knew. I think this was. I think they got them to design the pen because the pen is a technology that has been superseded at all levels, and the one thing that you can sell if you're selling pens is design and originality and something different. You can't keep selling the same old pen over and over again. And so you hire somebody like Zanuso or Sapper to provide you something which is going to be distinctive and different. Just like they have a pen which is in effect like the chrome furniture of Marcel Breuer, or the chrome on motorcycles and cars of the period, or lamps. Sapper and Zanuso did distinctive lamp designs. So
Makes sense.
This is really the realization, you might say, of the kind of Bauhaus idea of a range of industrial products, all designed by the architect with the designer alongside.
So is there a Bauhaus, an actual pen designed at the Bauhaus?
Is there a modernist pen, which is a pen which is actually designed by a Bauhaus architect in the 19-teens, in the 1920s? And the answer is strangely no.
No.
We simply don't have anything like that. We have pens designed by Mahoy Norge in America. There are certainly pens designed by significant American architects, but a Bauhaus pen from Germany or a pen designed by Le Corbusier, we don't have. Whether it's because of the technology, whether it's because of the low returns on fountain pens, I don't have the answer to that.
Say a little bit about this often used phrase that I think gets so badly misused: form follows function.
One of the old chestnuts of art and architectural history.
Right.
What does form follows function mean? It's a complex idea, because you would say that the Hastil was a perfect example of modernist design, but it is not a work in which form and function are meshed perfectly. For example, Hastil is extremely narrow. Therefore, people with large hands find it difficult. Their fingers bite into their their nails bite into their fingers. It has a very small ink capacity. And people like me might say, and in fact I quote in the catalog the art historian Kurt Foster, who says, brilliant, that's a modernist work. Style, symbolic function overcomes actual function.
Right.
The actual function is of interest, but is not of overwhelming interest.
Or couldn't we say that there are many functions, right?
And you can choose the ones you want to emphasize.
Right, like having the pen sell and it getting an audience is one of the functions.
Yes,
seriously,
absolutely,
right.
Making it attractive
Right.
to a modern.
But also, I think it doesn't speak to the process. So when I think architects or designers talk about it, what they mean is they think first about how it's going to be used. Right.
Yes.
They claim they think that, at least.
Or they claim that, but then they often think about how it looks.
Right.
And so that if it looks like something that would function perfectly, therefore it satisfies that need. And the form, you could say in the case of the Hastil, it's just a tube of ink.
Right.
Well, perfect. Perfect tube of ink. What could be better? Form and function are matched. But
in reality, it may be uncomfortable.
It may not be as comfortable. It may not hold as much. It doesn't hold it holds half as much ink as the Parker 51, for example.
Interesting. Okay, very good. Let me just photograph.
This much in 1,000 years.
But this is, because it's so much fun. This is so good.
These are the great. Speaking of another function, the black cube television. Right? The image lights up the surface, so it hasn't got a frame to it. It's the whole thing is the screen.
Oh, how beautiful it must be!
Yeah, and then the radio with these Brion Vega.
Right. Grange also is another one of these designers. Yes. Beautiful things, for kitchen things. And who has designed? Michael Graves has designed some fountain pens. I don't know if you've seen those.
I haven't. No.
They're they tend to be kind of. There's
Michael
a company,
Graves.
Acme, that
that
does a lot. And a lot of those things just tend to be sort of superficially designed.
Well, it might be interesting to say something about the case for a
Yes.
second. The case, if you look to the right, you can just see the case from the back.
Good point.
And that was designed by Cini Boeri, who is the mother of a contemporary architect, Stefano Boeri. And she seems to have been the one who was invited to undertake its design. She had worked for Zanuso at one point. And then the little lamp on the right, the lamp 606.
Is that who is that?
That is Cini Boeri herself.
I see.
And then that's her design. And
I
it
see.
has the quality of the Hastil.
And so she was part of the firm. Is that it?
She was previously part of the firm, had left by the time this design. How she gets the commission, we don't know, but it seems to be.
I see. That's really interesting. And it was only used for this pen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Oh, well, this is wonderful. I hope people will come and see it. I also love the flying pens.
Flying pens, designed by Barry Price.
Right.
Flying pens.
What's so extraordinary is that it took until 1970, really, for this design to take off.
Yes.
Because it seems so obvious.
I know, it's pathetically obvious. But I think that's why Arte Povera is the critical thing.
Yes.
And in fact, the fact that the first prototype for this was a piece of trash wound up is an indicator that Arte Povera was behind the idea of this pen.
Well, I have to say that was the one thing that I found initially the least believable, but you have convinced me. Okay. Let me say that if I hadn't come to see you and heard you talk about it, I would not have actually been convinced. But now I'm totally convinced.
I'm flattered and honored that you should feel that way.